I have a small confession to make, and a public one at that. I regularly post my dinners on Instagram and Facebook. Just a matter of course, but I think I make awesome dinners. And I posted my tuna bowl the other day, and I had a few requests for how to make this. This video is my technique on making this rice bowl in under 15 minutes. And you just need to master 3 things. Stay tuned. Greetings everybody, welcome to Brian's Table. I'm Brian Singh, and today I'm going to show you how to make my lovely, delicious, hearty, satisfying weeknight tuna bowl. As I said in the intro, this dish rests upon 3 key items. One, it is meal prep, and I'm going to encourage people to look up to the top left. I have a link to my meal prep video. So I have already prepped some snap peas, I have some cucumber, I have some daikon, Napa cabbage, and some carrots, but I also have some brown rice here. So that way I have my base done and I have my toppings done. If I want to add some fresh herbs to that, I could also add some cilantro. The other critical component of this is the cooking technique. Tuna really doesn't take a lot of time to cook. Typically, what I like to do is I like to go to Asian groceries. This one I picked up in T&T, and you can get frozen yellowfin ahi tuna steaks. This package cost me about $10, and I get 2 full meals out of it. And if I wanted to, I could actually add more protein through edamame, and one of these steaks could feed 2 people. So that's actually a really good money saver too. But you'll get this in the frozen section of any, most Asian grocery stores, even at some of the big chains. Usually it doesn't cost a lot, and you could get 3 or 4 meals off of this. They come in individual portions that are really handy for a weeknight meal. The other part of cooking the tuna on high heat is using a cooking vehicle that gets very hot and will sear the tuna very quickly. You can typically use a cast iron pan, but I do like to use my tawa, T-A-W-A, and it is something that I grew up with in Trinidad, and they make roti and other flatbreads there. But it serves a great purpose of searing tuna beautifully. The other key to this is making a dressing. And the dressing, it really doesn't need to be complicated. You can go with something Asian, you could go with something more Mediterranean. It's really up to you. But I want to show you one that I like, and it also gives you a chance to use peanut butter and up the protein content in your meal. First thing, let's get my tawa ripping hot. On the burner it goes. Here it is. And I'm just going to put it on gas mark 5, leave it there for the time being, and let's get on with our dressing. I like to keep my dressing super simple. I know some of you guys are going to be looking at this and saying, Brian, that's not super simple. It takes a lot of complexity to do these things. But we're going to try and do this in real time here to show you how easy this is. So I like having ginger with my tuna, so I'm going to just cut some ginger up in big chunks. That's going to be a nice gingery hit. I have a garlic clove. Let's put that in. I'm also going to put a little bit of honey. A little sweetness balances things out. Doesn't need a lot. Then I'm going to be putting my peanut butter in there. As I said, it adds it ups the protein element. And as I said before, if you really want to up the protein element of your meals and to cut back on sugar and carbs, this is really a very good dish. And packed with a lot of really good fats, because I also include avocado in it. And if you want to get more fiber in here, just add some more beans. Next thing I do to that is I add lime. I'm gonna add 2 forms of acid. Lime would be a nice citrus hit, and the other acid I'd bring in is a little bit of rice vinegar. Because we have that fat in there already, I'm just gonna balance that off with a little bit of sesame oil because I wanna put sesame seeds on the tuna, so this would be another complementary flavor. Great. And because this is a thinner style dressing, I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this. There we go. Doesn't need a lot. I'm gonna pull out my Braun immersion blender. I'm gonna tell you a little bit of truth about this one. I've had this since I was at university in Waterloo back in the 80s. It still works well. I actually have the original canister which I use for that. But because we're trying to save some time, and maybe if we make extra of this, we could just make it in a mason jar and just put a lid on it, and you'd be just good to go and just stick it in the fridge. Salt. I think I'll add a little soy to it. Brings another salt dimension to it. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna reblend this. There we go. Let's give this a taste again. Oh, that's tasty. There we go. You see, in a matter of minutes, the dressings come together. Use of a blender and a few creative ingredients. Delicious and ready to go. Let's move on to getting the tuna done. I'm gonna wash my tuna first. After you wash your tuna, you wanna make sure it's dry, so prepare your plate in advance. Pro tip, after you take your tuna out of the packaging, rinse it out and then put it in the garbage. If you don't, your garbage is gonna stink to all high hell. Take it from my experience. You don't need to experience that. Okay, let's dry the tuna. I honestly think one of the things that you do sacrifice on getting this particular steak is it's maybe a lower grade of tuna, but at the same point, it was frozen before. So that's one of the things you're paying for. Your tuna is not at room temperature, it's still a little cool to the touch. You like it, ideally it should be a little cold on the inside. I'm just gonna put a little bit of grapeseed oil on here. Any neutral oil will do. I just want something that would, the salt, pepper, and I'm also gonna include sesame seeds. I just want something for them to adhere to. Great. I have ready my Dalmatian blend of salt and pepper. I'm just going to drop that in from on top. I'm also going to put on this one sesame seeds. These are going to char quite nicely, bring another nice little flavor dimension to things. And then I'm just going to flip that over, do the same thing. This is just kosher salt and black pepper that I keep in a container. Anytime I want to salt and pepper a piece of meat or any vegetable that requires that. Okay, so again, a little bit of salt and pepper on there, and top that off with a little bit of sesame seeds, and we are ready to go to the grill. My tawa, or if you're using a cast iron pot, is ripping hot. I'm just gonna rest this on here. And what you're gonna see, you're gonna look at the bottom here all around, and you're gonna look for that to change color. And as it changes color, that means it's getting cooked. And you wanna get it to the point where it's cooked about halfway up here, and by the time you flip it over, halfway up on the other side, and it's still just slightly raw there. You want to get that at that point where you can let it rest for a few minutes, and then you can slice it up and you'd be a minute away from dinner. Okay, if you look here, you can see that everything is almost at the same color. Let's take it off, and we're gonna let this rest. As you can see, we have a little bit of crustiness on that side, as on the other side, and that's cooked through. And by the time you let that rest, it'll be ready to be sliced up. As our tuna is resting, I'm just gonna do the garnishes. So one garnish I like is green onion, so I'm just gonna slice this on the bias, and that way we now have a little topping to add a little punch of, tartness and sourness. That's what green onion brings. A little hit of freshness on that front. Doesn't need to be fancy. The other one I'm going to bring is the avocado. So let's slice this up. We all know the technique. A little twist. There you go. Like magic. All right. I'm just going to put that aside. I see a few marks here. I'm just going to cut that out here. Put you aside and put you aside. Dane. And I'm just going to put you like this. And I'm going to scoop you out. Yeah, let's use the dressing one there. It all goes in the same place. There we go. I'm just going to check for any other odd spots. There's a few there. I'm just going to take them off. There we go. Nice. All right. So some of our toppings are done. Let's pull this all together. I took the liberty of heating up my rice in the microwave. Now let's start designing what we want to eat. So I'm just going to put a little bit of daikon on here because I got the daikon here and I do like that flavor. So I'm just going to put a little bit of that there. Then I'm going to put some snap peas on. Add a little bit more crunch. As always, when you store your veggies and you want to use them for a few days, always include your paper towel in there. And I want some cucumber in there. Nice. Carrots. See, look at this. You're getting all your vegetables in one place. You're getting a lovely fresh salad. You're getting good fiber. It's all great. I also like adding a little bit of cabbage because it gives another dimension of crunch. And Napa cabbage is fun to have. So I'm just going to put that in the center there. Okay. Now I'm going to put my avocado in there. I'm just going to fan that out just a little bit. Again, it's weeknight food, right? That looks nice. That's pretty. All right. I'm just going to put that there now. And I'm going to now cut up my tuna steak. So I'm just going to go really simply here. Just going to cut it this way. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Just beautifully cooked. I'm cutting it in such a way that it will fall apart a bit in the bowl. And like I said, that's a good portion for one person. I'm going to go there. Okay. Let's get the dressing on. That'd be delicious. And I'm going to add a little touch of the kukui mayo. There you go. That adds a pretty touch. And the last thing I'm going to do is that with the green onions. Gives it a beautiful, fancy appeal. And if you're so inclined, there's one more touch. I do like the chili crisp, and having that on the rice bowl, it's spectacular. I'm just going to give a little touch. You see, you can improvise as you go along. You don't need to use the same veggies. You don't need to, you can also use that with salmon. The possibilities are endless. As long as you master this technique, you too could be turning out great food like this. So there you have it. This is my tuna rice bowl. It was super simple to put together, as you can see, with a little bit of prep, a little bit of understanding the physics of heat and how tuna cooks, and a little bit of creativity with the dressing and the combination of things that you use. You too can knock out a weeknight meal in a matter of under 15 minutes with this, and have a hearty meal that's also nutritious. Question of the day: what's your favorite weeknight meal you can knock out in 15 minutes or less? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, thanks again for watching. Your support has been invaluable. Thanks again for spending your time with me. And if you like what you're seeing, please hit the subscribe button. It really does help with the growth of this channel and bringing on other people like yourself who would appreciate this content. In the meantime, please go out there, give this a try. It's delicious. And you too would be satisfied in a short time, and you'll be having a spectacular meal that would be the envy of your friends. And they would also be wanting to go out there and taste the world.